What's up, Photo Booth family? Welcome to another episode of the Photo Booth 101 podcast. We have a little mini episode here. This one is dedicated to you, the person that's getting ready for their first event, or if you just started and you haven't done your first event. This is a great one because we're going to go over a ton of freaking things that are going to help you for your first event. So Hans, if you can go back in time and talk, now that you're like a veteran in the business and you know exactly what to do, how to be efficient, mistakes not to make. What are some commandments that you would tell the version of you that hasn't done an event? What are some things that you can give that would be helpful?
I think the biggest thing that as starting off, like the biggest thing that I see people do as far as quality goes is people don't get enough lighting sometimes, like or sometimes I don't know what it is. Sometimes they just don't turn on the ring light. Every photo booth comes with a ring light. And I've seen some people just not turn it on. I don't know if it's because they're embarrassed that it's demanding too much attention because it lights up the venue and it's dark. I don't get it, but don't be embarrassed. I get it. Some venues are dark and they turn off the lights and it's a party vibe, but like you need that lighting to make it look good. So just, the more lighting, the better. I feel like when we have more lighting, like more people want to come, they're like, oh, what's going on? Oh, that's a photo booth.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've seen that mistake where like people just don't have enough lighting.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else would you tell somebody about like their first event, like to help save them some headaches and
The headaches. Oh, that's a good one. Don't friggin' announce that you're about to close 5 minutes before you're leaving. So say you are saying at the end, this is not a drop off, this is not a pickup, and you're actually gonna be at the event and you're gonna be the attendant. Don't don't announce that you're gonna close in 5 minutes. If you're gonna announce it, like at least give yourself 30 minutes. Like, hey, we're gonna close in 30 minutes because that's a mistake I did as a rookie, is I announced it like 5 minutes before I was leaving. Like, hey guys, last chance to get a picture. We're leaving in 5 minutes, and then like the whole party rushes to into the line, and now like, as a new person, you're kind of intimidated, and you don't want to say no to those people waiting in line. So, those 5 minutes just turn in an extra hour that you're probably not going to ask for because you're new. You should ask for,
yeah,
compensation. But I know some new people are kind of shy to ask and like, oh, you know what, this is kind of messed up.
yeah,
So, give yourself 30 minutes. And then what I like doing is like when I know that it's like, close in 2 minutes, I usually count like, how many people are in line and kind of gauge it. So kind of gauge it and then tell the last like, if it's gonna close in like 2 minutes, tell like five people next in line to be like, hey, you guys are last, and then anyone that's after that's not gonna get a turn. So when people get to the line, just politely tell them like, hey, you're not gonna get a turn. Sorry, they're last. It is
yeah.
what it is.
Dude,
So
great point. Yeah, some people when they first start off kind of don't understand that one group of people could be 10 minutes at the photo booth.
mhm,
They take one photo and you always know there's that one person that's like, oh, my double chin, let's do it again. And it could
mhm.
be a 10-minute process. A pro tip here too is if we're using stanchions for our setup, what we'll do sometimes, I'll take one of those stanchions and put it right behind the last people in line. So if anyone walks up, they see the ropes behind them, and then we just move it up. I don't think I've ever talked about that, but that's one way to do it. For me, if I'm giving advice to anybody that hasn't done their event, this one's a huge one. Show up twice as early as you normally think you would. So if you think it's going to take you an hour to set up, you're supposed to show up 2 hours ahead of time. If it's your first one, there could be curveballs like, hey, maybe they actually want you set up outside. Well, now you need to make sure your setup is good outside. What if power becomes an issue? What if you forget something and you need to make a quick trip to Walmart? Give yourself an extra hour. I'm pretty sure you guys, anyone watching this, you probably have a store nearby, or maybe a 30-minute drive home. Maybe that gives you time to go home and pick something up. Um, and let's just say, hey, like even if you don't, you have an extra hour to get content. That should be also the main goal too, is to get, for social media, your website. Um, the next thing, let Hans dive in on this one. Hans, I think if I had advice, the advice would be prepare for every event and test before your event. We see
Yeah.
people struggle at their events and they're not practicing. So touch on that, man. What do you what do we mean when we talk about test? Like what do
Well, from just from judging from the photo booth 101 community, I feel like some rookies, right, that are just starting off and they're in the photo booth 101 community. I have to kind of like tell them like, hey, practice like you're at the venue and don't use anything at your house. So don't touch your Wi-Fi. Don't put your photo booth right next to your outlet and be using your outlet and then like kind of get that in a mindset that, you might not have an outlet that's, 2 feet away. So, kind of keep that in mind, like, okay, I'm gonna pretend that my extension cord is from here to here and stuff like that. Just kind of keep that in mind. But like the biggest thing is just people using their home Wi-Fi, man. That really, really bugs me. That irritates me. And then they'll be like, well, I tested it at home. Okay. What did you do at home? Well, I was using my home Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Well, you just already shot yourself in the foot because, okay, well, bring your home Wi-Fi to the venue. Like you can't. So
Yeah.
that's a big thing.
I love that. Yeah, don't bring stuff at home that you're not gonna don't use home stuff if it's not gonna be at the venue. I'd even double down here and I'd say don't rely on the venue for anything. Don't rely on them to feed you. Don't rely on them to give you enough space. Don't rely on them to provide shade. Don't rely on their internet. Don't rely on their power. And I know that's a lot, but like, let's just tackle this. Again, Hans talked about internet. Bring your own source of internet if you need to. If you rely on the venue, there's a really good chance that it's not going to work. Power. I recommend every photo booth owner invest in a Jackery, an anchor, basically a battery pack that can make your photo booth completely portable. If you think that every venue is going to have power nearby, you're wrong. I can't tell you how many times, Hans, where I've been to an event and last minute they need us outdoors, or maybe the only extension cord that's available because guess what? The DJ's priority, but maybe the only one that's available doesn't work.
Yeah.
Battery pack. What else? Shade. Invest in a canopy, right? Our setups need shade, and there's a lot of times where the customers aren't really considering the photo booth because again, it's the least important thing. They'll give priority to everything else. There's plenty of times where it's just like you have to set up here, we don't have shade, and you can have it in your contracts all you want, but I'm telling you, no one wants to be in a situation where they're not providing photo booth service and they're like, "Hey, well, it's in the contracts, you failed." It's a bad experience. So, what's that canopy company, man? Impact, right?
Impact? I use Impact Canopy for mine, yeah.
It's on Amazon. Yeah, so you guys go to Amazon and you type in Impact Canopy plus the word photo booth. You'll see one really affordable. Bro, those things have went up. I don't know if you checked on it, but they're like 200 and something plus now.
Yeah, we need to stop talking about them.
Seriously,
No,
get
they
us a
dude,
get
they
us a
they
referral
have
code.
great customer service though, dude. I think like two of my zippers, like the construction of the actual like fabric is really good, but one of the zippers kept on breaking on one of the certain walls, and they mailed me two of them, and they just told me like, yeah, show us your receipt, and I told them it was through Amazon. Because that's when I
Hmm.
bought the first one, and then they said like, "Oh yeah, just as long as you give us a receipt from the Amazon, like we'll send it to you or whatever." So
Dude, that's
like yeah,
awesome.
and they were quick about it. I think I had it like within 4 days.
Where'd it come from? Do you know? Like
I don't
California?
know. I don't know. It was maybe I was lucky it's coming from California, but it came quick.
You know what? Let's piggyback what we're talking about. Proper equipment. One would be like, before your first event, let's talk about cheap printers. Let's talk about that person that's trying to cut corners and trying to use, let's just say maybe the Canon selfie printer. Talk
Mhm.
about the importance of having a good photo booth printer and what you get with a good one that you just don't get with a cheap one.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people have like nightmares where like, I, how do you guys handle a line so long? Like my printer takes like 1 minute to print out one, and then you ask them like, well, what are you using? I'm using the Canon selfie, blah blah blah. I'm using this. It's like you should be using like a professional one. What is it called? A sub die printer.
Hmm.
I think it's, the Heidi P525L. That's like, man, I love that printer. That thing's a workhorse. It weighs quite a bit, but I mean, it's so worth it. I mean, you could tell even like I feel like I always relate products to like how much they weigh. Like sometimes when you go buy something and something like weighs like very light, like plastic, and then you weigh something else as where it's like metal, and it's like, oh, that's good quality. I feel like that's where the P525L. It's so heavy, but I mean, this thing's a freaking workhorse. So
Yeah.
yeah, just get a sub-die printer. You don't have to get the heat, but that's the one I recommend. But
Yeah.
this is the other one. DMP has good ones. Just make sure that you get one. That's good.
Yeah. So normally with a good printer, you're going to get speed. People think that the most important thing with the printer is quality, that's like not true. You want quick, you want a printer that has affordable prints. And I always explain to everyone, a good printer will be expensive initially, but very, very cheap to use. So if you're looking to save money, the mistake would be to buy cheap, then to spend more money as you use it. And I have this high tea over here that the printer, we also sell this printer on our website. I've had that one for about 6+ years, no, around 6 years. And just the amount of money I saved on the prints, I could have bought probably, I don't know, 5 to 10 cheap printers. So like what I'm saying is like a good printer will pay for itself, but also troubleshooting. Troubleshooting is easy on the Heidi because it has a little screen on it that has info. A lot of people using like the QW printer, which I don't think is a great one. It's by DNP. Um, yeah. So I don't know, man. That's my advice is to get a quality printer. You can be cheap with your photo booth, right, Hans? We've seen plenty of people have like really, really inexpensive homemade booths, and like, you've never had one. I think Hans went, yeah, you went
No,
straight, you went,
I
you
went
went,
straight to you guys
yeah,
before I even knew you. I already knew what photo booth I wanted, and then like doing my research. I think I bought the Hiti before you even started selling it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I bought that, and everyone's like, "Man, this thing's good." So then I was super happy when but you bought those into your store, and then you had the media because I'm like, "That's perfect. That's
yep,
I got lucky on that one."
yeah. So, but man, I built my own booths, man, and I can say from confidence, like most clients don't care too much about the tool. They mainly care about the outcome of what we're providing. So like the experience matters, and the experience is not really affected if you're building your own booth. So some things not to cut corners, your printer, and to be honest, backdrops, not cheap backdrops. Okay, so what else, man? What else? What other advice, bro, we can give that one person that's maybe starting their first event soon? Like what is some other gems?
I mean, besides the content grabbing, I mean, I feel like sometimes people just take a picture of their setup of like just the setup itself, and then like once the event happens, I get it, we get busy, but if you could squeeze in like maybe 30 seconds of like you not being busy, and while they're pressing the button on the screen, to like pose whatever, take pictures of people using it.
Yeah.
I know it seems awkward because they don't know you, but a lot of them don't care. And then, dude, after like two or three pictures of you taking them, they're like, whatever's. And then they just start ignoring you. They will look at you the first two or three pictures of you taking like pictures of strangers, you know, and they will look at you like, what the heck? But like, after like, your fourth picture, like most people are just like, they're like, whatever's. And then, one thing that I do now, is I take a professional camera, like a Canon camera, and then it looks I think a little less awkward than having your phone being like
Yeah, just
whereas
like
like if you're like having like a professional, yeah, exactly, but if you have like a professional camera, then they'll be like, oh, he's grabbing content, oh, he must be the photographer, oh, he's doing this. So I mean that's one thing to make it a little less awkward. But even before I had the Canon camera, to take pictures for social media, I was still using my phones. And like I said, it's gonna feel awkward because they're gonna look at you like the first three or four pictures, but I promise you, like after four pictures, they're gonna be like, whatever's. They don't care. And also, if you want to make it a little less awkward, get a gimbal. I always try to get stuff that makes it seem like, oh, I'm not doing this to be a creep. I'm doing this for social media. So I use a gimbal when I'm going to use my phone and take videos. I use a gimbal. It makes it a little
yeah.
less awkward than instead of going like this. I have a gimbal and just kind of like making it look a little more professional. And when people see that, they're like, okay, once
They
again,
may
he's grabbing social media stuff.
they may think you're the video guy.
Yeah, yeah. And then what's cool is that when I bust out the gimbal or when I bust out the professional camera, people usually like, oh, let me get out of your way. Oh, and then they're like, oh, you're taking pictures of those people taking pictures or using the photo booth. Let me get it. So they actually get out of your way when you look a little more professional. So a gimbal, and there's like many cheap ones. I got a DJI one, but get a cheap one if you can't afford one. If you're barely starting, get a cheap one. As long as it looks professional, people tend to like ignore you, because I know that's one thing that when I first started, it seemed kind of awkward of just taking pictures and videos of people that just started.
Yeah,
Uh,
facts. Completely true. Yeah, man, that's great advice. Content, especially if it's your first one, you're gonna want to be able. Man, I know this sounds crazy, but Hans, I challenge anyone doing their first event to come out of that event with at least 20 different posts. That way you can have some type of foundation. And
Mm.
so, like, what types of content to get? That would probably be someone's question. Like, okay, it's my first one. I think you need a video showing exactly what type of photo booth you offer. Show a video of you. Hey, here's get your phone again. Like, you don't have to get any like thing fancy that Hans mentioned, but it does help. But if you only have a phone, hey, Drew here at Drew's Photo Booth. Today we're set up for this event. Let me show you exactly what the session would be like. So if you book us, this is what your guests can experience. Then you just walk through the process. If it's digital only, talk about that, show it. If it's prints, you talk about the print, show the print, talk about the speed. That's a good video, not just to post, but it's a good video to give somebody if they have a question like, what exactly are you offering? Or what is a digital photo booth, you know? Other types of content to get you guys is just a simple photo of people using it, something simple that you can have on your website, something simple that you can just kind of show the setup. Um, your backdrops, you can do a freaking, man, I have so much ideas for content. I love content. You could do like a, what's a prop table look like? A video dedicated to the prop table. You could do a vlog, day in the life of. But more importantly, one thing that I advice I'm giving you guys, uh, document the journey. This is something, Hans, I don't know if you ever heard me say this, but I would spend tens of thousands of dollars to go back in time to document my journey as a new photo booth owner. Because all of you guys watching this, if this is your first one, you're if you stay consistent in this business, you can grow a photo booth business to where you're making quarter million all the way up to $1 million a year. There's plenty of people doing it. And I wish I can go back and have that content, because now when we have a successful business, I can use that content to be like, look where we came from. We're all small business owners, you guys. So like our story is everything. And it's okay to just be vulnerable. Turn the camera on, right? You don't even need to set up the photo booth. Hey, Drew here. I have my first event in 2 weeks. We're nervous, but we're getting ready. But hopefully in a few years we could be the best photo booth company in LA. Like just stuff like that, man. Like I wish, man, I wish I can go back. Do you have any stuff like that, bro? Did you document your journey at all?
Oh, well, you've never. I use you as my mentor. This is the first time I'm hearing that. Like document your journey. I've
That's
heard of people
right.
doing it, but like I've never had you tell me that. Now I'm just like, dang, I should have started that a year ago.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think I've gone farther in a year.
Yeah. Damn, I gotta go look back at these podcasts. We've been doing it for a while now.
Yeah, we got.
That's crazy.
That's why
I'm
we
so
lost
proud of you,
count.
bro. I'm so proud of you, man. Like the fact that like I mean, we talked about it here, like how your rental business in general is making you enough income where you're basically going part-time at your job and you're doing really well, man. That's freaking awesome. I want to give you your flowers here, you guys. Let's all just really quick round of applause.
Thanks, Dad.
And Tyler too, bro. Tyler's out in Puerto Rico, for God's sake. Sent us a
Yeah,
photo with a bunch of hundreds, and he goes, "Thanks to this rental
bro.
business."
Yeah, yeah, I know. Thanks to that rental business, I was balling, man. I was happy for him. I was like, dang. And then yeah, just my I mean, this rental business has been a blessing, man, between the photo booth and the mechanical bulls and everything else that I got going on. Like it feels good to, you know, like if I have to call out for a family thing at work, like they don't, they don't grab they I don't know, they just don't have a hold of me. They don't have control of me. I could be like, I don't need this job. And then my bosses know that. Like I've told them, I was like, I don't need this job, bro. Like I'm here for I call it fun money when I go do my paramedic job now.
Yeah,
I enjoy what I do. It's a professional job, but I feel like this small business thing just became even more professional because I have to play a lot of hats. When I'm a paramedic, I'm just a paramedic, but when I'm doing this, I'm a business owner, I'm the HR, I'm the customer service, I'm the provider. Like you wear a lot
market.
of hats here. So
Yeah. Is this quote accurate? This is something I've been saying is a good time to know when to go full time with your business is when your job needs you more than you need your job.
yeah, I would say so. Because I don't need my job that much. I mean, like I said, it's just fun money at this point.
Yeah. Well, fun
Mhm.
coupons.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, bro, let's talk about the famous question we get all the time. Do I need an LLC? And before we even talk about this, look, we're not legal professionals. Don't listen to us. We're just some random dudes on the internet, but we have opinions because we've experienced this. With that being said, Hans, LLC, is it something I have to get right away?
Not right away. You should have it as soon as you could afford it and as soon as it makes sense, especially in California, because it's
Yeah.
crazy expensive to get one here, then get it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna ding you on it because you haven't gotten it and you're like 3 events in. Because after 3 events, you might find out that this is not for you. Because we've seen a lot of people that get photo booths thinking that it's quick, easy money, right? And then they do the job and they're like, oh, it's not as easy as it looks. And like, no, it's not as easy as it looks. There's a lot of work into it. But uh as soon as you decide that, this is for me, I'm here for the long term, not for the short,
Hmm.
cash grab. I feel like you should get it, but do a couple of events first before you even think of getting an LLC, I would say, because you might not want that LLC,
Yeah.
after 2 or 3 events. Like I would suck because I know in California it's $800 a year. Whether you make zero money or like, well, I mean, if you make millions, it's gonna be more, but it's minimum $800 a year. Say you did one event and you didn't like it and you got paid $500 for that event and you took it in an LLC and now you got to pay $800, you lost money.
Yeah.
So I would say get it when it makes sense, but definitely don't need it when you start off. You just don't.
Yeah.
Just concentrate on building your company so you get to that point where like, okay, I should get it.
Love it. All right, I'm gonna say a few things that are important as a new photo booth owner, and you tell me out of these four things which one is the most important where people should focus. So if I'm starting a business, I'm gonna be focusing on these things. One would be making the best templates. Two would be adding adding a lot of upgrades, like adding a 360 booth, adding a retro phone, adding a selfie station, or adding. Three would be learning the software. Four would be building my website and starting my social media. I know which one on here is the most important, and I know you know.
Mhm.
So,
I would say first one is learning your software. Second one, social media website.
mhm,
Third one, oh, that's the third one. I would say templates, because it doesn't cost you anything, and then you should get that down before you even think of expanding into
yeah,
360 overhead, whatever.
mhm,
So I would rank them that way. Definitely the most important one is learn your software.
yeah. Because here's my thought process here. You can always outsource the templates. Like literally today, Monse is making two templates for people that don't want to make them themselves. These people
Mhm.
are photo booth owners. They're making money, and it's always possible for someone else to do that. One thing that someone can't do for you is learn the software. It's not like you're going to be able to have someone on call to handle a problem or understand how to set it up, right? So we all have to do that. Um, Next up would be, advice. I think we're pretty much tackling the most important things. Hans, business partner. Do you think the photo booth business is something where everyone should have a partner? And just what do you think? What's your opinion on that?
Like a business partner?
Yeah. So this,
Oh, that's
bro,
a hard one,
I
man.
see it every day,
That's a
man.
hard one. That's a hard one. I feel like if you are gonna have a business partner, have someone like a significant other that you could really count on. But like, oh, there was this one. Well, it was on the photo booth 101 community. I don't know which chat it was in, but they're like, hey, like me and my friend and my best friend, and I think it was like 4 people involved, and they were all friends. They weren't relatives. We're all thinking, and it's not like, oh, my friend wants to invest in something I already started, or we all know what we're doing. Like there was 4 people that didn't know what they were doing, and they want to all go into one company and do a photo booth company. I was like, yikes. So when we're talking like that, like I don't know, like I love my friends, but I wouldn't want to be in a situation where 4 people are involved in a business because there's gonna be a lot of conflicts. Like, someone's gonna be just I feel like someone's just gonna be there just to collect the money and then they're gonna disappear for the rest of the stuff. So just be very careful if you do start a business and have a business partner,
Hmm.
on who you choose. I would say at least for a photo booth company, I would say try to keep it to a maximum of like 2 people being
Yeah.
involved.
I personally don't think anyone needs, I think me, and this is my advice. I don't think you need a business partner unless it's somebody that's providing something that you don't have or can't offer. So if you're the money guy, you have money, but you don't have the time to run a business, might be a good time to find a partner that has a bunch of time. If you're the person that has a lot of time but no money, might be a good idea to find somebody with some money. Just having a business partner just to have one, just because your friend Josh, your best friend, he's your best friend, that's not enough. I see,
Mm.
I'm only saying this too, Hans. I don't know if I ever told you, but my first photo booth business, I actually got a partner. Not because I really needed one, just because I just thought it's business. Of course, partner, it's better, two of us. And then little did I find out that it just wasn't the best idea because there's so many different roles and so many things that it's really hard to split up the time evenly, especially when it came to going to events. We both didn't have to go, so it was a waste of time to have a partner there. So like, if he's doing the events and I'm not there, he's going to feel like he's spending most of his time versus me. So it was a big old ordeal. But yeah, what else can we drop here? Um,
Well, let me give vulnerable now. Now I want to give vulnerable.
yeah.
When we first started, I don't think you remember. I'll remember. I'll always remember the day that I met you in real life because you didn't know me, but I had binge watched all your videos, man. So when I saw you, I was like, damn, that's crazy. I've seen this guy on YouTube. But like it was me and my wife that met you, and me and my wife went into this business together. Even my wife, down the line, she showed no interest in business, and she trusted me on this pathway because I was like, hey, like this mechanical bull rental business is getting pretty successful. Kind of want to jump into this photo booth business because I have a lot of customers with mechanical bull rentals asking me, hey, you know someone with a photo booth? Hey, you know someone with a photo booth? So I'm like, after like the 10th time, I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna be the guy with the photo booth. So I told her to jump in there with me. And then as you said, like it's really hard to split up the time to make it like fair.
Yeah.
And we were going 50-50, and I eventually had to buy her off, give her money back and be like, yeah, I'm gonna run this on myself. So that's why I don't advise people to go on it unless they absolutely need to. Or you guys kind of have like a plan because she jumped in there with me, trusting my process. But then when she like kind of like I saw she showed no interest, like she didn't want to do it. Uh, it just became a problem. And I was like, I'm not gonna make this problem worse. So I was like, I give her money back. I'm like, I'll run this by myself. And this is gonna provide money for the family anyways. But I
Yeah.
just wanted to, get the revenue, and I bought her off. So, that's what I'm saying is like it's really, really hard to get someone involved. And if you do, I think the significant other is probably the best idea. But that's if they're on board and they know what they're doing. But if I guess I jumped into it not really explaining the process, and then she kind of showed no interest.
Yeah. That's powerful though, because my story is the same way. I didn't know that, by the way. I maybe you told me, but I didn't like remember that. But yeah, I did the same. It was my best friend, and that just we just decided to sit down and just tell each other like, look, like our friendship is worth more than this business. What's the easiest way to just act like this never happened and for us to move on? Um, and that's the truth, man. No business is worth a friendship, a relationship. So if you're just starting off and you haven't done your first event or you're planning to start, I'm here to tell you that the photo booth business doesn't require a lot, but it does require. So, all right, man, let's shift gears here. First event, let's just say for the person that has it booked 2 weeks from now, 1 week, what are some things that they can do ahead of time to make the day of that event easier? I have one that comes to my head. Wi-
Wi-Fi,
Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi.
I was gonna say checking weather.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I would say Wi-Fi. So take care of that. If you, especially if you're planning, like you shouldn't rely on the venue's Wi-Fi. You shouldn't. I don't rely on it. But even either way, I always ask for it ahead of time before I get to the venue.
Yeah.
Just so I'm not, because dude, once you get to the venue, good luck trying to find somebody to tell you what the Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi password is. So that's one thing that you could do ahead of time. So I'm thinking stuff that you could do ahead of time. Yeah, weather's a good one. Um, and then just having like touching bases with the client or the coordinator. So
Yeah.
touching bases. So like show like usually like if you're dealing with a coordinator or a party planner, it's so much easier because you're not really bugging the client, and party planners and coordinators are like readily available. Like you ask them like, hey, I'm doing this and this is the time I'm gonna show up. They'll tell you like, okay, cool, you're gonna use gate whatever, you're gonna use the south gate, you're gonna use the north gate, east, west, blah blah. You're gonna pack up and parking zones like right here, and they usually have a map. of like where you're gonna park and where you're gonna drop off. And so I love that. So touching bases ahead of time is such a good one that you could do ahead of time. And just so you know, like, because like you said, you said be 2 hours early, but I've been at venues where they don't allow you to be there before 45 minutes before like the start
Yes.
time. And like,
Yes.
yeah, show up 2 hours early, and if you fail to touch bases and now you show up 2 hours early and now you just wasted an hour and 15 minutes, or like I can't even go inside. So touching bases ahead of time.
That is so important because when people initially book us, they may pay for the booth, book the DJ, book the catering, literally right after they book the venue. And sometimes these people don't get all the info until a week before or maybe a few days before. That happens more, honestly, man, that happens more than people think, where the venue is
Mm,
like, no, like the venue opens up at this time and the client isn't usually, how can I say this? They're not too concerned on keeping the photo booth updated as much as they are the DJ, the catering, and all of that. So that's huge.
yeah.
One thing I'm grateful for when COVID happened is that like a lot of people were so after COVID, there was a good year where people are still canceling events because people were getting sick still, right? So like I really had to make sure we're calling the day before to make sure it's not canceled because bro, in the year 2020 2021, towards the end of the year, things are kind of back to normal. I'd say half of the events would be canceled because someone got in contact. And there's plenty of times, there's actually two times where I didn't call and I just showed up and they're like, "Oh, a person got sick. We're so sorry. Like we're just dealing with a lot, right? And it's a big serious thing." So like
Mm,
we now it's still in my DNA where we're contacting everyone the day before. Is the event still going on? And now like people are like, "Yeah, of course it is." But in my head, I'm still have that PTSD of not like missing out. So we're asking, I'm still asking, "Hey, same venue." I'll call before, same venue, same time for the rental. Making sure you don't want any add-ons, right? Like extra add-ons. This is what we're providing. That is super important. Another thing we could talk about, Hans, is contracts. Even for the first event, even if it's a free event, what is your advice for contracts? Is it something they need, something someone should do, consider, and what's your take on that?
yeah, definitely. You should have a contract, or I like to call them agreements. I feel like clients just like that word agreements a lot better than, oh, this is a contract. But a rental agreement, a rental contract, whatever you want to call it, you should have that signed and outlining how you're going to get paid and where you're going to get paid.
Yeah.
I allow customers to pay me, when I arrive. It's cool. But I just let them know, like, as soon as I arrive, I'm not setting up until I get paid.
Mm.
Just because you don't want to think like, oh, this person's a good person, they'll pay me. And time to pack up and you ask for the money, and then they're gonna be like, well, I didn't really like this, or I didn't really like that. So,
Yeah.
so dude, just get paid ahead of time, and it just put it on your rental agreement. If I don't get paid, when we arrive or sooner, we're not setting up. I
Yeah.
like getting paid a day before. I like how Honeybook you could because I get a lot of bookings through Honeybook. I like how Honeybook you could charge the day before. So I'll usually charge the day before, like I'll set it for automatic payment, and the client will get charged, and then so I'm not worrying about it the next day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So for those that don't know, HoneyBook is a piece of software that will like help you automate your business. So next we can talk about I think there's only just a few other things I think we can touch on would be backups. Because if you're gonna have any problems with your equipment, it's probably gonna be on your first event, right? Um, I think we both agree like it's a good idea to have backups of at least the cheap things that can ruin your event, like cables or extra lighting, right? And just in case your ring light isn't working. Um, do you think it's necessary to have a backup of everything, or would what's your take?
I mean, that ideally, yes. Is it necessary? No. I don't have an extra DSLR booth laying around. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I get it. Like the DSLR booths are super expensive. You can't have a backup of that. You know, Printers are expensive. I
Yeah.
baby my printer. I baby it like crazy. I baby that printer. I feel like I baby more my printer than my photo booth.
Have
My
you named
photo
it?
booth is kind of, huh?
Does the baby have a name?
I mean, at this point, I think it should have a name. It's my preferred baby now.
What would a good name for the printer be? Oh my God. Instead of what is it? Pr Priscilla? Printzilla.
Printzilla. That's a good one. You
Baby
know,
Printzilla.
well, let's ask people in the comments. What's a good name for a printer? Like, what should I name my printer? Because
Yeah.
now I want to put a name.
Bro, let's
So
see. Let's see who watched this long. We've been here for
yeah,
about 30 minutes. You guys, like Han says, give us the best name for the printer, and we want some puns. Make it punny,
yeah,
please.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Here's another one, you guys. Hans, let's think worst case scenario. Let's talk troubleshooting at the event. I know we both have the same mindset when it comes here. And one thing I tell everybody that I learned from you, and this is what you said, is you said act like you've been there before, even though you probably haven't. So touch base on what would happen for most people starting off and something goes wrong, and what's your mindset here, man? What can you share?
Usually when people have when people start stressing out, it's the printing. When you once you start printing, people start stressing out, and people just go on our community be like, help, I need help. It's not printing, but then they don't put any other information. Like I don't know, is it not printing because LumaBooth says disconnected? Is it not printing because your printer's not printing? Is it not printing because it's just when you print the print button on LumaBooth, it doesn't do anything? Like what's going on? And then people just freak out and they don't know what to do. So act like you've been there. And how do you do that? How do you act like you've been there? Diagnose. And I do this because I diagnosed a lot of things when I work on my car, when I, do stuff in real life, just diagnose. So if you could break it down and if it's not printing, just kind of be like, okay, well, Luma Booth says connected. So I know from the iPad to my laptop, it says, Luma Assistant says connected. So the problem is not in there. So then somewhere between my laptop to my printer, there's a problem.
Yeah.
So then that's why you could like zone it down to like that part. So because I feel like other people, I don't know if it's just me imagining this stuff, but I imagine like, people at an event and they're like, it's not printing, it's not printing. I reset the ring light and I reset and I unplugged it and plugged it back. And like that's not gonna do anything for you.
Yeah.
Like just kind of diagnose what's the problem is, and that's how you act like you've been there before. And don't freak out. Don't just be like just tapping stuff
Or
and don't just
don't
freaking out, man.
don't it when there's issues, one thing I say is go from the cheapest solution to the most expensive. A lot of people always think the most expensive problem is happening, right? Oh, my printer's not working, it's broken. No, you probably don't have it plugged in. That's the cheapest
Hmm.
thing. And we've seen plenty of people freak out, blame the printer, and then you troubleshoot with them on the chat, and they're just like, no, like they're like, oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't plugged in. And you've been there because you always say I've been there when it happens, and I've been there. So I, if you're having issues, cheapest to most expensive, and then you work your way to the most expensive. And my advice, you guys, if something's wrong, turn off the ring light. Don't be ashamed to tell people to come back in 10 minutes. You don't have to sit there and say, I don't know what I'm doing, which is probably what is right. What you could say is, hey, we need to do some maintenance, come back in 10
Hmm.
minutes, or until you see the ring light back on. It's a lot easier to troubleshoot in that type of situation to where there's not a lot of people breathing down your neck. Imagine if you're
Hmm.
doing like open heart surgery and then you had the family literally crowded around watching you do it. That's so much
Yeah.
more stressful, man.
Yeah, and there's no shame. Yeah, there's been times where like my Luma booth is acting spotty. My hotspot acting spotty. My router is for some reason disconnected. I have no problem telling like people like, hey, the last ones that they just went, I'll be like, hey, sorry about that. We have technical problems. I'll be back up and running in 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Most people are like 10 minutes, that's nothing. 10 minutes feels like a short time, but you could get a lot done in 10 minutes, dude. A
for sure.
lot done in 10 minutes. So, and then just like I said, just when you're troubleshooting, have a method of why am I checking this? I'm checking this because everything else before this is working.
Yeah.
Everything else before this is up and running. So that's how you could kind of diagnose it. And there's other ways where I've told people like maybe it's not your printer, maybe it's LumaBooth. And then, because people start blaming the printer right away, and they'll be like, okay, well, go on your laptop. Can you print out a regular photo from your laptop?
Yeah.
yeah, okay, then the problem is not the printer. The problem is somewhere between your iPad and your Windows laptop or your Mac laptop. So when you could kind of narrow it down, it
Mhm.
really helps.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I had a good idea for like maybe the next time we see each other, and next time you come in here, maybe it's the networking event if you come. How fun would this video be? Where we test each other, where you leave the room, we have a completely working photo booth set up here, and I make something wrong. And then you go and you diagnose it, and you walk us through the process like, okay, well, we're checking it. I think that'd be such an amazing video to do. Maybe
As paramedics, we do that, right? As
you guys really?
paramedics, we do scenarios. Like we always got to keep each other's on toes. So there'll be times where like we do like a surprise scenario. We just call it scenarios, or we're working a code. We're like, okay, patient's down, blah blah blah. So I think that'd be awesome. Where like you could just unplug something and then just be like, okay, diagnose it, tell me what's wrong.
Hmm.
Dude, I love that idea. And not only can we do it for like between us, but maybe we could do it to an inexperienced person there, like
Yeah. Great idea.
I love Stevens. I love Stevens. So if Steven, comes to the network and, we tell like, all right, Steven, figure it out, see what's wrong, it'd be pretty fun to see how his mind works.
Yeah. There's like 10 different things we can do to mess up. Maybe it's turn on the firewall. Maybe it's freaking give them an iPad that doesn't have the latest LumaBooth update on it, which I do have. Um, Dude, I love that. We should do it, man. I think that'd be a cool little training thing and something kind of fun.
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
do the popular ones too, like all it was is your printer wasn't plugged in. Like the power was plugged in, but that USB thingy you didn't plug in, So
Mm. Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
it'd be fun. It'd be fun. It'd be fun to do.
So anything else, brother, on this? Any other advice? I think we tackled the most important tips, tricks.
Yeah, most important. And then when you're setting up, just when you're at an event and you're at your first event, concentrate on the photo booth. Don't do your backdrop and don't do your prop table. Leave that to the end.
Yes. Great advice. Yeah. And why though? Why should someone start on the photo booth first before the prop table?
Because the prop table, if you oh God forbid you forgot to bring that favorite hat. Oh no, like I
Right.
mean it is what it is, like you forgot a hat as long as your photo booth works, but if anything's gonna go wrong it's because your photo booth is not working. You got to figure that out, and that's where you kind of concentrate on.
Yeah.
The prop table is like the least of your worries.
Mm.
Prop table is always gonna work. Maybe you forgot a hat, maybe you forgot a coat rack. I don't care. It's like it doesn't matter. It's still gonna work. But I would say photo booth and then backdrop because it has happened to me where I forgot a backdrop. Not I forgot the backdrop. I brought the wrong one.
Hmm.
So, oops. I fixed it. I gave myself enough time to drive home and pick it up. But it's photo booth first, backdrop for me after, and then prop table.
Oh, that's awesome. Bars. Man, gems, gems, gems. Gems dropped on this one. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to follow Hans down in the description. As always, Photo Booth 101 University Podcast. But you guys, make sure you're following us, subscribe. Let us know again in the comments what you would name your printer if you named it. We'll do this. The funniest one, we'll leave it up for a week or so, and I'll pick the funniest one, and whoever wins will get a shout out in the next episode we do.
I love it.
Kind of fun.
Let's do it.
Yeah, cool. All right, you guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.